Hello friends, welcome to a draft recap of the Ultimate Pokemon Conference, a league that I founded and am running alongside a bunch of good friends of mine. I'm going to quickly record this draft recap because I'm actually going to go ahead and say that this is now officially an upload league. Yeah! I'm excited. Now, as you guys may or may not know, we have recently rebranded to the New York Cosmogs from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I am your coach, Phantom Base, and we're going to hop right into this, just so we can say that we did this, honestly. And I hope that you guys are hyped for this season of the UPC. We are back after our Season 2 hiatus. Hope you guys show some support to the Season 2 people, as actually none of them were able to return this season. But hopefully the champion of Season 2 will be able to come back for Season 4. So, with that, we're going to hop right in. And I'm going to say that I believe I was like 6th pick in the draft. Smack in the middle of the 12 people. And so, it made drafting difficult, but I did get a good team. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy. So, with our first pick, we picked up the one Pokemon that I wanted out of the entire group. And that was Tapu Lele. I've been dying to get Tapu Lele in a league. This is the third league I've drafted for, and this third time's the charm, I guess. Because Tapu Lele is like hot, apparently, when it comes to leagues. I know people want it really bad. It's a great Pokemon. Psychic Terrain prevents priority, and plus it gives a 1.5 times boost to Psychic moves, essentially giving me a choice specs without losing the ability to change moves. So, and this Pokemon has such great coverage. It's got Moonblast, it's Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball. I mean, this thing just hits like a truck with base 130, a special attack. And I wanted this to start out just to let people know my team's going to be a threat. And to be fair, it is. It's going to be a threat. And so, and plus this is my favorite Tapu of them all. And with this next pick, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start out on my Bear Dragon Steel Core right away. And say, you know what, I wanted to grab a Pokemon that is faster than base 100, but still can be run a myriad of different ways. And so, say hello to Garchomp, one of the first times we've ever been able to draft this thing, actually. I'm really excited to use this thing, and I hope you guys will enjoy our use of it. It can be a bulky Stealth Rock setter, it can be a choice Scarfmon. It is, let's see, I believe I have not actually chosen the Pokemon that I put Z Crystal on, because we picked 3 in this league that we can choose to have Z Crystals on, and I believe I put it on. No, you're right. No, I was right. I put one on Tapu Lele and one on Garchomp, because these Pokemon are just really good Z Crystal users. They're almost nothing survives the Tapu Lele Z Crystal move, and Garchomp has such versatility with moves like Fire Blast, plus getting Earthquake, Iron Head, Poison Jab. It can run Surf for all we know. This thing is just really good. Plus, on top of getting Outrage, this thing can be a Bandit Pokemon, this can be a Scarf Pokemon. Like I said, it's just really good, really hard to predict. Especially with Rough Skin. You can run Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, make it a stall, or make it a punishment for wall breakers. And so, with that, we're going to transition to our next Pokemon. I was like, instantly, I wanted a spin blocking, and I wanted also wanted hazard removal. And so I picked what is probably one of my favorite Pokemon in Gen 7. I decided to grab Delmise. And this thing is amazing because it is the start of my Firewater Grass Core. And I wanted to make sure, and it also gets a 3rd stab in Steel thanks to Steel Worker. Plus with the ability to run Anchor Shot, it gets in base 131 attack. It's ridiculous. Now, I think also has pretty decent HP and like base 100 defense, so it's not bad on that front either. This thing can be run a lot of different ways, and I really wanted to grab a Pokemon that can be useful both in attacking and in defense. So let's give it up for Delmise, who is making their debut on this team. Now, our next Pokemon is the second portion of our Firewater Grass Core, and also gives me some switch initiative, which I really wanted. And it's just an all-around good Pokemon that can be used a decent amount of ways. Like I said, I wanted some versatility this season. So it's not an incredibly fast mon by any stretch of the imagination, but it is. It's got base 86 speed, but it's also got base 107 in both defenses and 105 in special attack. Give it up for Rotom Wash, who is making its debut on our team. And I believe this is the first time I've used Rotom Wash in a league, actually, because I've always used Rotom Heat, or I've had Rotom Cut at one point, but that wasn't exactly a great Pokemon to bring. In any case, this Pokemon gets all sorts of defensive moves. It gets both screens, it gets Will-O-Wisp, it gets Toxic, it gets Hex for status punishment. It also gets Sucker Punch, Foul Play, on top of Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Signal Beam. This Pokemon is just pretty good, and it doesn't do a whole lot, but what it does well. So our next Pokemon, I was like, alright, I need another good wall breaker, and also wanted some fighting coverage because my dark type weakness is looking kind of meh here. So I was, you know what, I'm going to pick up a really hard hitting fire type, and it happens to be a fighting type as well. I grabbed Emboar because I like Emboar. Emboar is a Fatmon, but it's also a very hard hitting Fatmon, and with its ability to Reckless, it makes it so much scarier to deal with. Flame Charge, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Head Smash. This thing just gets a myriad of moves that abuse Reckless. Slap a Life Orb on this thing and it hits so hard. And I'm excited to use this thing. Plus with this ability, with base 100 special attack, people don't want to sneeze at that either because it gets access to things like Scald. And that can be really useful at times. Also can use Hidden Power, it can use Flamethrower, also use Heat Crash if I decide to be so cheeky as to bring it on against something that I know is going to be lighter than me. So anyway, our next Pokemon, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go crazy here. And I was like, this team looks like it would really thrive with this certain Pokemon, especially because I had my Mega planned. And I was like, I was at a point in the draft where no one could take my Mega. I had already discussed with the people who could take it, and they said they wanted something else. So like, you know what? I'm going to go take this Pokemon and make my team infinitely scarier. And I know what you're thinking, this Pokemon isn't scary, until you remember that this Pokemon is Pelipper. And it gets Drizzle as an ability now, making it infinitely better. Plus, I believe it gets some boost to bulk, making it a very scary Pokemon to deal with under rain, because it can easily set up the rain and be scarfed, click U-turn, go out into something that can deal with whatever's coming in on it, like say Cartomp. All in all, just a very good weather setter. It could be a Focus Sasher to bring out the rain, survive a hit, click Scald, or whatever I want it to do. And yeah, this Pokemon is literally the startings of the making of my rain team. So, my next Pokemon was like, you know what, I want a Pokemon that can abuse the rain. And I also want another hazard setter, because I can't just have Garchomp over here who can set up rocks, and that's it. I wanted all forms of hazards that I could potentially get. So I was like, you know what better Swift Swim Pokemon than Omastar, which is an incredibly bulky Pokemon, but under rain it is so much scarier, because this thing gets Swift Swim, and on top of that, it gets access to things like Ancient Power, Scald, Ice Beam. This thing is just an incredible, plus Stealth Rocks and both sets of spikes. This thing is an incredible hazard setter, and just an all-around bulky mon. But under rain, it would be bulky and fast, and it'd be really scary to deal with. So my next Pokemon was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and reveal my Mega now, because it'll give me the extra points that I need to keep myself afloat in this draft and be able to grab some extra things that I want. So, in case you haven't been able to guess what Mega thrives under rain better than Mega Scizor, and I've never used Mega Scizor because I've always been kind of wary of the the quad weakness. But I'm sitting here staring myself in the face, going, I've got 3 other quad weaknesses as it is. Might as well go and grab a 4th. But Mega Scizor under the rain, ridiculous. Like, you can't find it. And plus, with this thing being its weakness being covered by Almost Star's weakness being covered by Imbor, Pelipper's weakness being covered by Garchomp. I mean, it's just, I have the team ready to run the rain, and this Pokemon is no different. It's a Defogger, so on top of my Rapid Spinner in Delmise and a Defogger in Pelipper, I now have a Defogger in Mega Scizor. It's also just incredibly bulky, incredibly strong with Technician, great priority moves. If I'm not going to run it, so if I don't have Psychic Terrain up, I can easily turn around and bring out Mega Scizor and just smack things with a Bullet Punch. Gets me some more Switch Initiative, as if I don't have enough already with Rotom Wash and Pelipper. I've also got this thing here for some more Switch Initiative. So next up, I decided, you know what, I'm going to grab another form of hazard removal, because why not just go and steal it from everyone else? Plus, I wanted to make sure that I could switch in on some Psychic types and be able to switch in on Toxic Spikes as well, because all my walls cannot switch in well on Toxic Spikes except for Rotom and that Pokemon, and that leaves me with 3 water types as it is, and I really did not want any more. I was like, you know what, I'm going to grab this Pokemon, which has been the bane of my existence from the get-go, and it'll give me another Pokemon that can deal with fairies pretty well. So I decided to bring on Skuntank, who easily can deal with fairies. It's a good Defogger because it's not weak to rocks, and it's immune to Toxic Spikes. Its only weakness is ground, which is mitigated by Rotom Wash, and it resists grass, which is Rotom Wash's only weakness. So it's all in all, it's a great Pokemon. It gets access to Pursuit, it gets Knockoff, I believe, it gets a Poison Jab, it gets a Sucker Punch, it gets Flamethrower, it gets Sludge Bomb, it gets decent amount of other moves that I don't really know off the top of my head, but I do know that it's going to be a good mon to use. It's a great Scarfer because it has over base 80 speed. Plus it can just deal well with Pokemon that attack it directly. So for things like Mega Lopunny, if I were to have to deal with that thing and it kill me off, I have Aftermath. I believe it gets that and it can use that to its advantage, which is really good. So the next Pokemon I decided to bring in, I thought, you know what, I want another Pokemon that can abuse the Psychic Terrain, but I don't want to bring in a Pokemon that is weak to the same things as Tapu Lele. It's like, you know what, I need another hard hitter, and I need something with extreme versatility here. It's like, you know what, this is also a Ghost weakness, which is really good for, or a Ghost immunity, which is really good for me, considering that I've got 2 Pokemon that are weak to Ghost, and only one way to deal with them. So I decided to bring in Meloetta to the team, and this Pokemon is weak to none of the same moves that Tapu Lele is. On top of that, it can switch around and be a normal fighting type. It just kind of wrecks some shop a little bit. So you never really know what it's going to bring. It could be a good Assault Vest user, it can be a Scarfer, it could be a Specs Pokemon. If it switches to Pirouette form, it's got base 128 speed, and that's really fast. So all in all, this Pokemon is just really good, and its versatility is bananas. It gets the Elemental Punches, it gets Close Combat, it gets Knockoff, it gets U-Turn. It also gets Hyper Voice, it gets Psychic, it gets Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Thunderbolt. I mean, this thing is just crazy meant for versatility, and that's like the theme of this team, is versatility. And I decided, why not go ahead and grab one more mon that will break the base 100 speed barrier, because right now I only have 2 that can do that outside of my Swift Swim Pokemon. So I decided, you know what, we're going to grab an Ice type, and not just any Ice type. I wanted to grab Beartic, but that got sniped from me because of someone else's Rain team. Ironically, there are 2 Rain teams in this, but mine's only kind of a half Rain team. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to grab a Pokemon that has gotten a good buff in, I decided to grab a Pokemon that has gotten a good buff in this Pokemon Sun and Moon. And on top of that, it's just going to be a really good Pokemon because it's base 105 speed. And that Pokemon is Cryogonal. And it's another form of hazard removal. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 forms of hazard removal. 5 forms of hazard removal on my team. 2 in Rapid Spin, 3 into Fog. And you can't say that I'm not going to have some hazard removal. On top of that, I've got hazard stacking capabilities like crazy. And this Pokemon is going to be really good just for coming in. I could run it Scarfed and run Freeze Dry. This thing hits pretty hard as well. It gets access to Ice Shard. It gets access to Rapid Spin. It gets Flash Cannon. It gets all sorts of, weird moves. It's not a Pokemon that's going to be used a lot, but when I use it, it's going to be good. Like I said, it's a good form of hazard removal, and it's fast, and that's the big reason why I wanted it. So, all in all, it looks like this team is going to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to the roster that you see up here. If you guys are hyped for your New York Cosmogs to be taking over the UPC, please make sure you show your support by smashing that like button down below. And if that's all it's been from me, this has been Phantom Base, and I'll catch you guys week 1. Bye, guys.